Yes. Good evening. I hope my voice is audible to all of you. So today we are going to see, yes, good evening everyone. Today we are going to see important articles of Indian Constitution at a stretch. So we will try to complete this as fast as possible, right? So first of all, we need to remember three important terms. One is state, the second important term is nation, the third important term is constitution. My focus today is on constitution. What is constitution? What are the different parts of this constitution? What are the different articles of this constitution? That is my focus, right? State, what is state? According to me, what is state? It is political authority. Why I am telling you this? I want to link this with the constitution. State, what are the features of state? Right? Although I am not going to identify the differences between state and nation, what I am going to do here is I am going to identify the feature. For any particular state, we need to have territory, we need to have citizens, we need to have government, we need to have sovereignty. Okay? So this is what we need to understand. In India, who is sovereign? People are sovereign. The sovereign institution is parliament. Parliament is the sovereign institution. So I am not going to take a introduction class of polity. I am trying to complete articles. So what I am trying to do is trying to justify how the architecture of this constitution is made. Try to remember this. The first feature is territory. The second one is citizenship. The third one is government. Right? Territory, citizenship, government, sovereignty. Right? Sovereignty, who are sovereign in India? People are sovereign in India, and parliament is the sovereign institution. Keep that in mind. Territory. So this is the constitution document. You have to download the latest document which is available in the internet. Try to type constitution PDF legislative website. You can download this particular website, document from legislative website. This is a free document. Constitution of India updated till May 2022. Remember that no document, no book in the market will be updated till May, right? It is important that you download this document online. Try to type constitution legislative website, you will get that PDF from there. It's open source. Here I am going to try identify the parts. So when I mean state, state means political authority. I am not talking about geographical territory. State, when you write in capital letters, which means political authority, it is having features. One is union territory, one is territory, the second one is citizenship, the third one is government, right? The fourth one is sovereignty. That is how I kept it. Sovereign institution is parliament. Keep that in mind. What is the first part? We will try to focus on the parts first. We will try to focus on the parts first. What is the first part? Territory. Can you see this sequence? Territory is the first part of Indian Constitution. The second part of the Constitution is citizenship. The second part of the Constitution is citizenship. Then you come, the third part is the rights to the citizenship. We are talking about rights to citizenship. Citizenship, the extension chapter of the citizenship is fundamental rights. Part 3 of Indian Constitution, very important, that is fundamental rights. The next important part is directive principles of state policy. Can you see this? Directive principles of state policy is also rights of citizens, different rights of citizens but not enforceable rights. Directive principles of state policy. So which means that part 3 and part 4 together is an embodiment of second part, which is citizenship, extension of citizenship. So when I mean about state, when I spoke about state, I spoke about territory, I spoke about citizenship, we are talking about citizenship, right? So similarly, there should be duties for, there shall be duties for the citizens also. That is the reason why we have part 4A. So part 1 is union territory, the second one is citizenship, third one is fundamental rights, fourth one is DPSP, fourth A is fundamental duties for the citizens. So rights and duties for the citizens are embodied in 3, 4, 4A parts of Indian Constitution. So 2, 3, 4, 4A are relevant because they are talking about citizenship. Next one, next in relation, if you remember when I spoke about state, I spoke about territory, I spoke about citizenship. The third one is government. In government, we need to talk about union government. Fifth part is union government. Fifth part is union government. And after fifth part, in fifth part, you will see different subsections like chapters, which is about judiciary, which is about executive, which is about legislature, right? You will see in union government, we have articles about legislature, we have articles about judiciary, we have articles about executive. Apart from that, we will come to next part, that is part 6. Part 6 all about states. See again, government, state government, union government, state government. After this, in state government, what will we have? We will have in state government, what will we have? We will have legislature again, we will have legislature, we will have executive, we will have judiciary again, right? So that is the structure. Architecture of this constitution is built in that way. Next part, seventh part, there is no such part, it was omitted because these were the types of states we used to have, sub-state mechanism. We don't have it now, we lost it in evolution, so you don't have to remember anything. Seventh part is deleted, omitted. But eighth part we have. Eighth part we have union government, union territories. Can you see? This is also type of administration. Union government is one, state government is one. The third one is union territory. Union territory is also in the hands of center. But there are some places like Puducherry and Delhi where they have little legislative autonomy, right? So we have eighth part, union territories. And apart from that, decentralization happened in India because of 73rd and 74th Amendment Act, right? Decentralization happened because of which we have local governments. Local governments, we have two types of local governments. One is rural local bodies, one is urban local bodies. One is rural local bodies, the other one is urban local bodies. Rural local bodies we have in part 9, and part 9A we have urban local bodies which are municipalities. Part 9A we have urban local bodies which are municipalities. Then comes part 9B. Part 9B is also very important, people don't know this. Part 9B is all about cooperative societies. Cooperative societies are very important when a country with so much of with so much of poverty and unemployment is there. Cooperative societies are very important. We have learnt a lesson from Bangladesh jute industry here, right? But you need to identify the difference between cooperative societies and SHGs in classrooms, right? Cooperative societies, how it will improve the situation and status of people, right? So 9B we have cooperative societies, and people will end up there preparation there. But remember, apart from union government, apart from state government, apart from local governments, which is Panchayat Raj or municipalities, we also have scheduled areas, scheduled and tribal areas. The type of administration we have in these areas are completely different. Scheduled and tribal areas, right? All over India we have scheduled and tribal areas. The administration of these areas is completely different. When you read that particular topic, when you read 5th schedule and 6th schedule, you will learn about them, right? Scheduled areas. Remember, the father of scheduled areas is president. Consider president. He is the person who will declare a particular area as a scheduled area or backward area and tribal area, and try to bring those areas forward. Try to see this. We are not talking about people. We are not talking about scheduled caste people. We are not talking about scheduled tribal people. We are talking about areas. Bringing the areas forward. The type of administration we have in these areas is completely different. Next one, relationship between union and state government. So part 5 is union, part 6 is state government. So the marriage between these two, 5 plus 6 is 11, right? 5 plus 6 is 11, which means that we have 11th part, which is relationship between union and state government. When you talk about 11th part of Indian Constitution, you are talking about relationship between union government and state government. Consider this as a marriage. Consider that as marriage. And 12th part, we have 12th part, finance, property, contract, suits. In marriage, what will you get? Dowry. In marriage, what will you get? Dowry. In marriage, what will you get? Property. In marriage, what will you get? Finance. money, exchange of money, right? So normal, this is just a way to remember. I am not promoting dowry or transfer of properties, remember that point, right? So part 12, when we are talking about part 12, in part 11 it is relationship between union government and state government, part 12 is dowry. Dowry means finance, money, property, contract, suits, finance. This is the chapter we have, that is part 12. The relationship between the federal systems, right? Federal units. Then came part 13. Part 13 is all about trade, commerce, intercourse within the territory of India. So what will you do with the money you will get from dowry? You leave your job and start doing business, right? Part 11 is marriage, relationship between central government and state government. Part 12 is dowry, finance. Part 13 is trade, business. With the money we get from dowry, we do the business, right? Example, trade, commerce and intercourse within the territory of India. So this is how you remember 11, 12, 13 parts. So let us revise the parts which I have discussed till now. First part, union territory. Second part, citizenship. Third part, fundamental rights. Fourth part, DPSP. 4A part, fundamental duties. Fifth part, union government. Sixth part, state government. Seventh part, omitted. Eighth part, union territories. Ninth part, panchayats. 9A, municipalities. 9B, cooperative societies. 10th, scheduled areas. 11th, relationship between union government and state government. 12th part, it is property, finance. 13th part, trade and commerce. I hope you understood the relationship. When you know the definition and features of state, the same architecture was brought into the constitution. Constitution is not rocket science. It's easy. Next one, part 14. Part 14, when you talk about part 14, what it is all about? Services under union and states. So you have UPSC, you have State Public Service Commission, all these are under state, union government and state government services. UPSC, SPSC or APPSC, APSC, BPSC, UPPSC, all these are public service commissions. Remember that 14th part is all about public services. 14th part is all about public services. Remember that way? Remember that way? 11th part is marriage between union government and state government, relationship between union government and state government. Part 12 is dowry, property, finance. 13th part is trade. 14th part is services. So either you do business or buy a job. You go bribe the public service commission and get a job, just for fun. Okay, you just have to remember that. 14th one is public services. And part 15, when you talk about part 15, August 15, what is August 15? August 15th is independence to India. What happened in during the independence of India? We got democracy. We got our democracy, right? After independence, we got democracy. What is democracy? Elections. Elections is the important feature of democracy. When you talk about 15th part of Indian Constitution, you're talking about elections, right? You're talking about election commission, universal adult suffrage, all these points you'll learn about here, right? Next one. Then comes part 16. Part 16, special provisions related to certain classes. Part 16, you need to compare it with Article 16. Article 16 is also special provisions to SC, ST, OBC, or you can call educationally backward or economically backward or socially backward people. So what are the different provisions they have in the legislatures, right? So special provisions relating to certain classes, reservation of seats in Lok Sabha, Raj Sabha or assemblies or any other legislature, wherever there is government, what is position of certain classes in that particular government, that is 16th part. So up to this it is very important. 16th part is also very important. 10th schedule, 16th part, 5th schedule, 6th schedule, Article 15, Article 16, these are very important. I will repeat once again, Article 15, Article 16, Article 15, Article 16, 5th schedule, 6th schedule, 10th part of Indian Constitution, 16th part of Indian Constitution are very important. We are talking about socially, educationally, economically backward people, their position in legislatures, their position in jobs, everything. Reservations, to be frank, in simple if I have to talk about. Next one, part 17. Part 17 is talking about languages. What are the different official languages we have? What should be the language of communication? When there is a relationship, what should be the language of communication? Right? That is part 17. Not much relevant or important for you. Then comes part 18. Part 18 is emergency provisions. Part 18. You know 108? 108 is emergency phone number, right? When you call 108, you will get emergency service. That is how you remember 18th part. 18th part is emergency provisions. 108, 18. So that is how you remember emergency provisions. You cannot forget that. Then comes 19th part, that is miscellaneous. Nothing to remember about 19th part. 20th part is very important, amendment to the Constitution. If there are any changes to the document which we saw up till now, if there are any changes to this document, that is done in part 20, right? 20th part of Indian Constitution. And next we have 21st part, temporary transitional. You can ignore 19th part and 21st part. Right? So you can forget 22nd part, you can forget 22nd part, 21st part and 19th part. All else is done. All else is done. I hope you understood how we did it. First part, territory. Second part, citizenship. Third part, fundamental rights. Fourth part, DPSP. 4A is fundamental duties. Fifth part is union government. Sixth part is state government. Seventh part is omitted. Eighth part is union territories. Ninth part is panchayats. 9A is municipalities. 9B is cooperative societies. 10th part is scheduled areas. 11th part is relationship between central government and state government. 12th part is all about finance. 13th part is all about trade. 14th part is all about services. We have 14A also, tribunals. Tribunals are quasi-judicial bodies. Then 15th part, elections. 16th part, we have special provisions for the scheduled classes. 17th part, we had languages. 18th part, emergency provisions 108. 19th part, miscellaneous, ignore. 20th part, amendment to Indian Constitution, ignore 21, 22. So this is how we complete the number of parts we have in the Constitution. Remember, why I am taking so much of pain and telling you and minding you to remember? Because when you go to the examination, when you are writing polity examination, if you write these examination, mains examination without mentioning the articles, what is the purpose? If you are not targeting and pointing out to that particular part or article, there is no purpose. I hope you understood that, right? So importance of parts. Parts are done. We are winding up parts. Acha, you want to write in notes? Okay. I'll repeat once again. Part 1 is talking about union territory. When I talk about state features, I spoke about territory, citizenship, right? Citizenship for population. Territory, citizenship or population. Third one is government. Fourth one is sovereignty. I am trying to link those features to the Constitution. First part of Indian Constitution is union and territory. Second part is citizenship. Third part is fundamental rights. Fourth part is directive principles of state policy. 4A is fundamental duties. Fifth part is union government. Normally you know union government only, but remember you have union government, state government, then we have union territories, then we have local governments, municipalities and panchayats, then we also have scheduled areas. Don't forget scheduled areas. Scheduled areas are different types of administration. People will leave that particular part normally, right? So this is done. I'll repeat once again. Fifth part is union government. Sixth part is state government. Similarly, seventh part is omitted. Eighth part, we are talking about union territories. Ninth part, we are talking about panchayats. 9A, municipalities. 9B, cooperative societies. 10th, scheduled areas. 11th, marriage. 5 plus 6, 11. Fifth one is union government. Sixth one is state government. The relationship between them is 11th part. Then in marriage, what we will have? Dowry. Dowry means property and finance. 12th part is property finance, and with dowry, with the money we can do business, right? That is 13th part. Trade, internal trade is 13th part. Then comes 14th part. With the dowry money you can either go for the trade or you can go ahead with the buying a particular government job. 14th one is public services. 14A is tribunals. 15th part, August 15th we got democracy, elections, 15th part. 16th part, scheduled classes. When you talk about scheduled classes, you need to remember Article 15, Article 16, similarly Part 10, Part 16, 5th schedule and 6th schedule. Schedules I will do next. Okay. So, this is what we need to remember for 16th. Then comes 17th, which is official languages. Then comes 18 you need to remember 108 number, emergency provisions. Then comes 19th, irrelevant. 20th part of the constitution, amendment to constitution, very important article is there, 368. Next one, 21, 22, ignore. So, these are the parts. We ignored only 3 parts, all else we remember. We need to remember and we need to code. Whenever you are talking about constitution, when you are talking about polity, you need to code parts. Without quoting parts, without quoting articles, without quoting schedules, amendments, ordinances, laws, polity answer sheet is nothing. There is no point in writing polity answers. Every particular subject will have its own aesthetics. Aesthetics for this paper is this. Right? So, if I am little fast, try to catch up or try to pass, slow it out and try doing that. Right? Next, I am trying to take up schedules. Right. First schedule we have union, territory, states and union territories. Second schedule we have the salaries of officers, different officers. Third schedule we have oath and affirmation. Fourth schedule we have allocation in council of states. Schedule 1 union and territories. What is a schedule normally? See, part 1 of Indian constitution is talking about union territory. Part 1 article 1 talks about union territory. How many states we have? 28. How many union territories we have? 8. It says like this. We have this many states, this many union territories. But when you get into schedule, you will understand what are the different states, what are the different union territories. Like what you get in schedule 1, and tell you an example. We were in Andhra Pradesh, I am talking about. Let us take an example of Andhra Pradesh. Andhra Pradesh used to be in Madras state. In 1953 it became Andhra. In 1956 it became Andhra Pradesh. In 2014 it became bifurcation. After bifurcation, Andhra Pradesh. So, this sequence you will get in schedules. Any extra information about that particular article you will get in first schedule. Right? Right. Schedule is a place where you get extra information about. Okay. Normally, you people also, when you are trying to do your research work, thesis or project work, you will try to mention suffixes or prefixes and mention that number, or try to refer to a bibliography, try to refer to a particular book later, right? Right. Annexures we call it as. The same way we have schedules here, right? Second schedule is about salaries. Third schedule is about oath and affirmation. Fourth schedule is about allocation of seats in Rajya Sabha. Which state will have how many seats in Rajya Sabha? Fifth schedule is about administration of scheduled areas, right? Administration and control of scheduled areas and tribes. Sixth schedule we are talking about the scheme administration of areas, but only ATM square. ATM square, remember. Assam, Tripura, Meghalaya, Mizoram. We don't have Manipur in this. Remember that one enough. ATM square, but Manipur is not there. All are northeastern states where tribal intensity is more, tribal density is more, right? So, except Manipur, we have all other states, ATM square, right? Can you see Assam, Tripura, Mizoram and Meghalaya? We don't have Manipur here, which is of northeastern. Remember that acronym, with that you can remember this. And we have seventh schedule. Seventh schedule is about division of powers. Division of powers between union, state and concurrent. These are very important. These lists are important. Union list, state list, concurrent list. Now we have union government, state government, which government can make law on which part. So those are the subjects we get here. Next one, eighth schedule. Eighth schedule is all about languages. If you remember, 17th part is all about languages. Eighth schedule is about languages. Then comes ninth schedule. Ninth schedule is about validation of certain acts and regulations. Right? So 9th schedule, then 10th schedule comes, which is defection. 9th schedule you can remember land reforms. In simple you can remember land reforms. On 10th schedule it is all about defection. 11th schedule it is talking about panchayat, and 12th schedule it is talking about municipalities, powers, authority, responsibilities of municipalities and panchayats. I'll repeat once again, I'll try to repeat once again. We have 12th schedule municipalities, we have 11th schedule which is of panchayats, we have 10th schedule anti-defection law, we have 9th schedule land reforms, we have 8th schedule languages, we have 7th schedule which is division of powers, which we have 6th schedule which is ATM square, we have 5th schedule the same administration of tribal areas, scheduled areas apart from ATM square. Except ATM square, all others are in 5th schedules. We have scheduled areas and tribal areas all over the country, not only in Northeast, not only in Assam, Tripura or Meghalaya and Mizoram, right? Apart from that, we have scheduled areas and tribal areas. All those areas will be administered according to 5th schedule, except ATM square is administered under 6th schedule, right? Because they have different kind of administration setup. They have tribal advisory councils, all this, right? Then we have 4th schedule allocation of seats in Rajya Sabha, then 3rd schedule we have oath and affirmations, and 2nd schedule we have salaries, and 1st schedule we have union and territory. These are what we are talking about schedules. So we have 12 schedules and we saw 22 parts. So we actually have 25 parts, but the last part is 22nd part. So 25 parts of Indian Constitution and 12 schedules of Indian Constitution you know now. I hope you have clarity on this. Try to remember the numbers. We are trying to focus here on the architecture and numbers. Important parts, important articles I will get to now. Okay. Single line, article name important. Article name, single line you need to remember. You should be able to write down in the notes. It is not going to be elaborate class where I will discuss about every single article. I am just going to identify what is the article, what is important. This should be normally 70-page notes. With these notes only normally any topper will hit the examination. With any latest amendments, changes, important changes, people will hit the examination, right? Next we will get into articles. We have one preamble. Apart from this, we have one preamble. Preamble is like index of Indian Constitution. Whatever we see in preamble, we need to reflect them in articles. What is preamble? I will just read it out. This is the features of India. This is the characters. This is ideals of India. Remember this. This is how we want India to be. This is not what India is. People always ask me, is India a democratic country? I say, we are still in process. We are trying to become more democratic. Remember, this is the destination. These are goal, these are objective, this is not what we are now. Okay, let us see what is preamble. We the people of India having solemnly resolved to constitute India into sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic and secure its all citizens, justice, social, economical, political, liberty, thought expression, belief, faith and worship, equality, status and opportunity, to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of individual and the integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly on 26th day of November 1949 do hereby adopt, enact and give ourselves this constitution. What we are seeing here, what are the different features we are seeing here, I would like to tell you. The first one, we people of India, when people are deciding about a particular country, administration, that is democracy. That is already a democracy. When people are deciding their own fate, that is called democracy already, right? Sovereign, your ability to take your own decisions, not dependent on others. Socialist, right? State-owned resources, right? Resource will be in the control of state. Similarly, secular. Here I am trying to identify different revolutions here. First one, I will try to identify justice. Justice is the principle of Russian Revolution. Justice is the principle of Russian Revolution. Liberty, equality, fraternity is the result of French Revolution. When people don't know world history, you don't know Indian history. When you don't know Indian history, you don't know Indian Constitution. When you don't know Indian Constitution, you don't know anything about India. Similarly, you need to understand, when I talk about justice, I am talking about Russian Revolution. When I am talking about justice, you should see Karl Marx in me. You should see Russian Revolution in me. You should be able to see Lenin in me. Able to understand? The same way, liberty, equality, fraternity are the principles of French Revolution. When you talk about integrity of India, we are talking about unity and integrity of India. This is completely Indian philosophy. Indian history you should remember. Indian history, Indian philosophy, right? You should remember Britishers clearly. Our independence struggle against Britishers. Our independence struggle against Britishers, you need to remember when we speak about unity and integrity of India, right? Then, coming back here, again see, sovereign. All the modern states are sovereign states. All the modern states are sovereign states where the decisions are taken by sovereigns. Who are sovereign in India? In India, people are sovereign. People are giving power to parliament, which is legislature, right? Socialist, again you can see socialism, Russian Revolution. Secular, Western secularism principle is morely from Western secularism, especially from French Revolution we need to see. Democracy, you need to talk about USA. Republic, you can talk about USA again, right? Likewise, you should be able to identify what is there behind this. What is the root genesis of this particular document? So, French Revolution, Russian Revolution, if you don't know American Revolution, if you don't know all those revolutions which happened in the world arena, remember, go back, try to open up wiki, complete them, come back to preamble. Else, attend classes. Simple. So, now I am getting into articles. Very important articles. I will only focus on important articles. I want you to write all those articles, right? The first article is all about name and territory of the union. In first part, we have the first article, name and territory. What is the name of India? People in the Constitutional Assembly debated that the name should be India, and someone said Bharat, and some other said some other names. That is the reason why he mentioned, Ambedkar mentioned India, that is Bharat shall be the union of states, right? He gave an alias for the name India. He gave an alias for the name India. So, remember article 1. Article 1 is talking about union and territory. That is very important article. Article 1. Article 2, establishment of new states. So, Parliament may by law admit into union or establish new states on such terms and conditions as think fit, right? So, how to create new state? Now, for example, you have Uttar Pradesh. How to make 4 states from that? Article 12 is used, right? Article 2. Article 1, name of the union territory. Article 2 is creation of states. Next, Article 4. Article 4. Article 1 ho gaya, Article 2, Article 4. The next important article is Article 4. When we talk about Article 4, remember we are talking about parliament power. So, in state I have told you the fourth part, you remember union, that is territory ho gaya, then we spoke about territory, the second one is citizenship, the third one is government, the fourth one is sovereignty. Who is having sovereignty in India? Parliament. Remember parliament, every other time I will talk about parliament. Article 4 is talking about parliament. Parliament has power to admit new states, bifurcate states, change the boundaries, anything. Who is having power? Who can do that? Parliament, simple. Parliament is the sovereign authority that is established here. Demolished. Part 1 is done. Part 1 is done. Part 1 important articles 1, 2 and 4. One is talking about name and union territory, second one is talking about admission of new states, how to create new states, and 4 is talking about parliament power to make states. Citizenship. Next one, citizenship. Part 2 is talking about citizenship. In part 2 we have one important article. Article 9 is very important. Persons voluntarily acquiring citizenship of foreign state not to be citizens. Article 9. Article 9 is very important. Article 9 is saying that if an Indian citizen is acquiring any foreign citizenship, automatically his Indian citizenship will be lost. Right? We cannot have the concept of dual citizenship. We have only single citizenship. There is no concept of dual citizenship. Only one single citizenship. That is according to Article 9. If you are getting American citizenship, automatically your Indian citizenship will be lost. If you are getting UK citizenship, your Indian citizenship will be lost. That is Article 19. Okay. Then talk about Article 11. Next important article is Article 11. Who is having power to give citizenship? Who is having power to say no to citizenship? Who is having powers to decide on the rights of citizenship? Parliament. The same sovereign point you remember which I spoke about the state features? Parliament. In first part, who is having the power? Parliament. In first part, 4th article is Parliament. In second part, 11th article is Parliament. So all other articles are not important because these articles are framed during the migration. So what would be the different rights for those people who are already from India, who went to Pakistan, who came back from Pakistan to India? Those things are there, less relevant for our examination. But remember, Article 9 and Article 11 are going to be very important. In Article 5 to 11, we have second part, that is citizenship. Article 9 is saying that no dual citizenship. Article 11 is saying who can make laws? Parliament. Parliament will create a law and say he is citizenship. That person is citizenship. That is not, he is not citizenship. He will not get citizenship. Right? Whatever the models are there, it will be done by the Parliament. Parliament is a sovereign authority, remember. Second part of Indian Constitution is done. Next comes to third part, fundamental rights. Fundamental rights. We have n number of rights, but among which one fundamental rights are foundation, right? These fundamental rights are so important that this will enable you to perform according to your capacity. There are many hurdles in the system, but fundamental rights, those people who understand their fundamental rights, they can perform according to their capacity. Ambedkar whims, it is that let it be rural person, let it be woman, let it be disabled, let it be differently abled, let it be tribal person, let it be SC, let it be ST, let it be women, senior citizen, anyone should be able to perform according to his capacities. To make a person perform his skills according to his capacity, no hindrances should be there. Who will create hindrances now? Who will create hindrances to you? How will you get hindrances? Let us see the ecosystem. We have India. In India, what is the ecosystem we have? We have government, we have private people, that is citizens, we have companies, we call them as legal persons, right? We have aliens who are called foreigners, then we have ourselves, citizens. Who can create hurdle for me? Government can create. Who can create hurdle for me? Other citizens can create. Who can create hurdles for me? Aliens. Aliens can create. Who can create hurdles for me? Companies are legal persons. Right? This is the ecosystem I have. I have protection against them. If any one of them encroach into my fundamental rights, I can go to Supreme Court. Fundamental rights are enforceable. That is what we are talking about. Fundamental rights is protecting individual. Fundamental rights concept is taking individualistic mode. That is where we are failing. Why Indians are not getting fundamental rights? Why Indians don't use their fundamental rights? Because we are from a family system. We know family values. We know family rights. We never knew individual rights. So after independence, we became independents. We became individuals. These fundamental rights talk about individual. This will not talk about family. So individuals who can create hurdles for him, these are the different ecosystem. To protect against these hurdles, we have different fundamental rights. So what are those fundamental rights? You already know. I'll try to open up different important articles. I'll tell you. Is my voice still low? Is my voice low? Only articles I will focus on. Am I audible? Voice is good? Thank you. So now the important articles here. Article 12, definition of state. Remember Article 12, definition of state. I told you, no, definition of state, features of state. The same way, definition of state. What is state? What is not state? What is political authority? What is not political authority? Okay. This will be there in Article 12, state, definition of state. Because you need to understand definition of state, because you have rights against state. You have rights against state. State can hurt you. You have protection against state. Can you see this? Okay. Next, Article 13 is about judicial review. Judicial review. We have three important organs of state. One is legislature, the second one is executive, the third one is judiciary. What is judiciary? Judiciary is another important organ. What should judiciary do? It should review the actions of legislature and executive. It should review the actions of legislature and executive. If legislature or executive are creating any laws which are against fundamental rights, it will cancel them. It will make them unconstitutional. I am trying to limit the subject I have and try to tell important articles only. Okay. Article 13 is talking about judicial review. We have three important organs: legislature, executive and judiciary. Right. Judiciary is having review power over executive and legislature. That is what we have in Article 13. Article 12 is definition of state. Article 13 is judicial review. Article 14 is right to equality. I spoke about French Revolution. French Revolution philosophy is liberty, equality, fraternity. One of the important principles is equality. Equality in class, status, opportunity, everything we have in Article 14. Article 14 is giving you power to talk about equality, right? And Article 15, prohibition of discrimination on grounds of race, religion, caste, sex, place of birth. That prohibition of discrimination, right? So that is extension of equality. Prohibition of discrimination. Discrimination, there are two types: positive discrimination and negative discrimination. Discrimination, one is positive discrimination, negative discrimination. Here Article 15 is saying that you should not have negative discrimination, you can positively discriminate. Whom we can positively discriminate? Socially, educationally, economically backward people. In your words, reservations. Those people who have reservations, socially backward people, SC, ST, right? Educationally backward people, BC, and economically backward people, BC and EWS, you cannot say discriminate. If you are giving special privileges to them, you cannot say discrimination. Normally, everyone are equal before eyes of law. But these are special when we talk about different privileges in different institutions, especially educational institutions. Article 15 is focusing on discrimination in educational institutions. Article 16 is talking about the same in workplace. Right? Article 15 is talking about positive discrimination in education. Article 16 is talking about positive discrimination in work, opportunity, work. So, which I mean that Article 15 is talking about reservations in education, Article 16 is talking about reservations in job opportunities, public service opportunities, right? That is Article 16, important. Fundamental rights, I cannot skip many, you need to remember. Then Article 17, very important article, untouchability. You cannot forget Article 17. Article 17 is abolition of untouchability. You know untouchability. What is untouchability? Right? India has history of untouchability. So we banned it. Ambedkar himself, the constitution maker himself, went through this particular experience. So he reiterated Article 17, and Article 17, Article 18 is abolition of titles. One should not have any title. Raj Bahadur, Raj Bang Bahadur, Raja, Raja the Raja, Maharaja. These titles you should not wear, everyone is equal, right? Article 14 to Article 18 we are talking about equality. Article 14 is talking about right to equality, which is also called rule of law. Who is ruling you? Who is your ruler? All of you, who is your ruler? Your ruler is law. There is no physical embodiment, this is only law. It is not rule of king, it is rule of law. What is the fundamental law we have? Constitution. This is the document we have, fundamental law. We have rule of law. Article 14 is saying that everyone are equal before law. Normally we used to say everyone are equal in the eyes of God. Now it is in the eyes of law. Law is important in the modern societies. Law. Right? Article 14 is talking about rule of law. Article 15 is talking about positive discrimination in education. Article 16 is talking about opportunities, positive discrimination in opportunities. Article 18 is talking about abolition of untouchability. Sorry, Article 17 is talking about untouchability. Article 18 is talking about abolition of titles. One should not have any title. Raja, Raja the Raja, Maharaja, Raj Bang Bahadur, all sir. Any other titles we should not have. Alright. So, no titles, which means that we are creating an environment where equality will be there. Equality is the future of French Revolution. Done. Equality, Article 14 to Article 18, articles demolished. Then Article 19, right to freedom. Article 19 is talking about freedom. Different freedoms are there: freedom to talk, freedom to form associations, freedom to reside, freedom to travel, freedom to take different professions. There is freedom, right? So there will be there used to be hurdles before. Brahmin ye karna hai, Vaishya ye karna hai, Sudra ye karna hai. We used to fix professions before. Unlike that, now we don't have any fixation. Anyone can practice any profession based on their capacity. If you have capacity, go to BPC, get MBBS seat, become doctor. If you have capacity, do LLB, become lawyer and practice law. There is no restriction in this. This is given by Article 19, right? A right to profession. Similarly, there are different freedoms in that. That is the reason why you need to remember regarding freedom. Right to freedom, Article 19, we are talking about freedom to, this very important article, to be frank. This very important article, we have subclasses, class and subclasses in that, protection against different freedoms. Freedom of speech expression, freedom of assembly, freedom of forming association, freedom to reside, freedom to travel, freedom to take professions. Likewise, different articles are there, very important, but it is freedom. Article 19, right to freedom. Then Article 20. Article 20 is protection in respect of conviction of offences. Whatever is highlighted, you can write that in notes. Whatever is highlighted, you can write down that in the notes, or you can directly open this document, copy paste, right? So Article 20 is talking about protection in respect of conviction of few offences. If police, right, if police or judiciary, right, there are, in conviction there are three stages, right? One is police, the second one is judiciary, the third one is jails. We have this infrastructure available. We have police, we have judiciary, we have jails. What is the word conviction? When you file FIR, that is called accusation. You are accused. When you are getting the punishment, that is called conviction. The other one, if you are not getting punishment, that is called acquittal. If you are released from the case, that is called acquittal. From accusation to conviction. So you have some protections against the conviction. If state is, it is like protection against the police, literally. It is against the, this one, and Article 9, 20, 21, 22, it is literally like protection from police or from the state organ which is powerful, from the powerful state, right? So protection in respect of conviction for some offences, right? For example, no double jeopardy, no double jeopardy, no person shall be punished for the same offence twice. Example understood? So protection against conviction of some offences is there in Article 20. Then Article 21, it is looking very small, protection of life and personal liberty. It is very small in size, in look, but it is very broad. Judiciary interpreted it very widely. There are n number of freedoms which flew from this particular fundamental right, that is Article 21, right to life and personal liberty. Remember that. Article 21 is about right to education. Article 21A is about right to free and compulsory education. If you find any child roaming on the roads, kick him and throw him in the school. Compulsory education, he cannot say, no, I don't go to school. No, I have a choice, I will not go to school. No, you don't have a choice. India is a poor country. In poor country, you cannot be impoverished by not giving education. You have to get education, throw him in the school. Free and compulsory education for children of age 6 to 14 years is there in Article 21A. Then we come to Article 22, protection against arrest and detention in certain cases, right? Police can arrest you. There are two types of arrest, right? One is preventive, the other one is punitive. There are two types of arrest. One is punitive, the other one is preventive. When you are arrested after doing crime, that is called punitive detention. When you are arrested even before doing the crime, let us say that I am planning to blast any particular marketplace, right? Then I can be arrested even before blasting, preventive detention. Understood? If I am about to do a big crime, then also with intelligence they can arrest me. That is called preventive detention. These two types of detentions are there. Normally in police will do custodial violence, people will do, people will not follow the law and try to enforce their own ideology in the system sometimes. So that is where you will have protection against arrest and detention. What are the different rights you have when police arrest? Police, if police is showing you gun, if police is showing you power, if police is showing you uniform and showing power, you should know your rights about against that arrest. What are the rights you have? For example, right to be consulted. If you are being arrested, your parents should be told, your relatives should be told, your friends should be told. You should be given a chance to employ a lawyer, right? Vakalta, right? You should be able to give vakalta to a lawyer. You should be given a right to consult your lawyer. You should be taken before the magistrate within 24 hours of arrest. These are the different rights you have. These rights are flowing from Article 22 of Indian Constitution. That is done. 19, 20, 21, 22. 21A is also there here. 19 is talking about different freedoms. 20, 21, 22 especially are protection against state. 21A is talking about right to education. So 21 is right to life and personal liberty. Similarly, Article 22 is about protection against arrest and detention, and similarly here Article 20 is protection against conviction of offences. So you can see Article 20 is little relevant to judiciary, Article 22 is directly relevant to policing, okay, directly related to policing. So those are the articles which we spoke. Next one. Next important right against exploitation, right? You have protection against exploitation, prohibition of trafficking of human beings and forced labor. 23rd article is prohibition from trafficking and forced labor. No private employee, no citizens, no other person, no legal person can force you. It is against protection from government, protection from private person, protection from other citizens or aliens, right? So prohibition of traffic and human beings for forced labor. The next important is prohibition of child labor. Article 23 and 24 will protect you from slavery, kind of slavery, trafficking, beggar, there are different words, trafficking, beggar, any work which is enforced, any work which you are not doing voluntarily, right, you are protected from that. That is in Article 23 and 24, right against exploitation. Don't write right to exploitation. It is right against exploitation. It is very important you remember against. Don't write right to exploitation, please. So then we have right to religion. In India, what is very important for you every single day? That is religion. People always ask why it is so important in India. So religion is source of energy for Indians. When we speak about religion, suddenly we will become fanatic, right? Article 25 is talking about freedom of conscience and free profession, practice, propagation of religion. I will take the religion which I wanted. I will practice it, I will profess it and progress it, right? So I will take up that profession, I will practice that, and I will take up and propagate that particular religion, any religion, right? I have freedom. Even though I am born in a Hindu family, even though I am born in a Christian family, even though I am born in a Muslim family, even though I am married to someone who is not my religion, I still have my own right to practice my religion. Religion is not a family right, religion is individual right, again in Indian Constitution. Remember that point? So who is giving you religion? Not your father, not your mother, it is Constitution, remember. You are inheriting the religion you want from the Constitution. You are having that particular space. Article 26 is freedom to manage religious affairs. I can have my own religious sect. I will create my own, I will manage my own affairs. If I have my own temple, I will manage and administer my own resources. I will not let state or I will not let other religions to interfere in my religious affairs. Non-interference in religion, that is called secularism. That is where we talk about secularism. What is secularism? Separate religion from the state, that is called secularism. King has no duty to talk about religion. Narendra Modi has no duty to talk about religion. Governments has no duty to talk about religion. That is what Constitution is saying, secularism. Article 26. Equality and freedom done. I am talking about secularism also here. Wherever is required, I will talk about that. Promotion, freedom from taxes in promotion of religion. You cannot collect any tax like jizya tax we had. Like the jizya tax we had in Mughal period, where the tax is levied on non-Muslims, right? The same way we cannot impose taxes on those people who are not your religion. Collect those taxes and develop their religion, but you can accept charity, you can accept funds. So there is no force in religion. No one can force you to pay some money in the name of religion. Remember that. Next one, 28th one. 28th one is freedom from attendance of religion or instruction. Let us say that now I will stop this constitution, I will start teaching you the gospel. Let me talk about, I will talk about Hinduism now, I will talk about Bhagavad Gita, I will talk about Sri Krishna. You have your right to leave the class then, right? That is what right, freedom from attendance of religious instruction. Your consent is required for me. If I am taking your consent and giving you the instruction, what Krishna said to Arjuna, if I am taking your consent and giving you the word, if I am giving you that gospel after taking your consent, it is fine. Else you can always leave the place, right? So what rights you have when someone is forcing you into religious instruction? Let it be college, let it be workplace, let it be in your street, let it be in your city, anywhere. Understood? Those are the rights we have. Right to religion, article, right to religion. We have from 25, 26, 27, 28. 27 is very important article where we are not bound to pay any tax in the name of religion. Right to religion is done. Next one is cultural and educational rights. Remember India. India is a country which is diversity. When you talk about India, what will you remember? Diversity. We have North India, South India, East India, West India, Northeast India, Northwest India. Right? We have Central India, geography. We have Hindus, Muslims, Christians. We have Jews, we have Buddhists, we have Sikhs, we have Parsians. Right? We have all the religious people. We have different castes, we have different genders, LGBTQ+. Right? This is diversity we have. And again, there is ethnicity also. There is ethnicity, different ethnicity is also there. What is ethnicity, sir? Andhra Muslim, Kashmir Muslim, Uttar Pradesh Muslim, West Bengal Hindu, Tamil Nadu Hindu. Remember that there is no similarity between West Bengal Hindu and Tamil Nadu Hindu. Similarly, there is no similarity between Andhra Muslim or UP Muslim or Kashmir Muslim. Their way of living, their lifestyle is completely different. Most of the times their culture is more relevant to the land they are living, the piece of land they are living. So ethnicity is different, right? Assam Bengali, right? Bengali Muslims. Likewise, ethnicity is also there. Huge diversity is there. Multiculturalism is there. When we have India, which is huge diversity, multiculturalism, there are majoritarians and minority people. There is always a problem of majority and minoritarians. Minority. So the way Adolf Hitler persecuted Jews, there is always a fair chance that majorities, maybe Hindus or minorities, any other religion, they can persecute them. To protect them, to protect the small religions, to protect the small cultures, so those small pocket of cultures, and keep our democracy vibrant with our diversity, we have created these two articles, 29 and 30. We are talking about right to educational and cultural rights, especially of minorities, although the Supreme Court said there is not only the right which is there for minorities, but for also majorities. Remember, this is minority rights. Who are minorities? Who are not in majorities. There are two types of minorities, religious minorities and linguistic minorities. Those people who are less spoken language, who are from less spoken languages, and those people who have less number in a particular religion. These are the two types of minorities we have in India. Right to religion, cultural and educational rights for minorities. For protecting them, Ambedkar had article 29 and 30. Very important article. Then we speak about article 31A. Article 31A is talking about right to property, land reforms. Remember that work? Right to property, which was removed. Right to property, this was removed. Article was removed. 44th Amendment Act 1978. Right to property is removed and placed in article 300A as a constitutional right. This is not fundamental right now. Right to property is not fundamental right, but still it is. Right to property is not fundamental right, it is still legal right, it is constitutional right. It is removed from fundamental rights. When you have dispute, you cannot directly go to Supreme Court, but you can go to high courts or local courts obviously. Then we come to 31A. 31A, 31B, 31C, remember only one point, land reforms. Land reforms and property rights. Land reforms. In land reforms, you will learn different types. right? In land reforms was what we speak about land reforms. When we are talking about land reforms, I am talking about abolition of intermediaries. First one is abolition of intermediaries. I am removing Jamindari concept, I am removing the Raitwari, I am removing those Mahalwaris or intermediaries, right? There is no person between the citizen and government now, unlike before. Between the citizen and Britishers, we had Jamindari, we had Raitwari, we had Malwari. Then land ceiling. So we know that land is concentrated in the hands of those people who are intermediaries. People used to have 1 lakh acres, 2 lakh acres, 50,000 acres, 20,000 acres. We have taken off that land. We have brought land ceiling. One should not have more than 25 acres, 30 acres, 50 acres. Like that, we have brought ceilings and we have taken over all the land, right? And that is called land ceiling. All the land taken over, we had consolidated that land consolidation. Then land distribution. And then land distribution to bring equality in the society, to bring justice in the society, right? We need to do land reforms. Land reforms are quite successful in West Bengal and Kerala. Remember, where there are successful land reforms, the parameters, the education and health parameters are very good. Kerala is one of the states which is quite successful when compared to other states in land reforms. See their education numbers, see their literacy, see their health. Understood? Right. Land reforms and development has quite a good link. So articles 31A, B, C, remember land reforms, nothing more than that. Then comes article 32. Then comes article 32. What is article 32? Article 32 is soul of Indian constitution. Remove article 32, you need no constitution. Article 32 is remedy. What if all the rights I have, if I am not getting my rights, what is the purpose of having my rights? When you are not getting your rights, come to me, Supreme Court, I will give you rights, right? That is remedy. That is what we are calling it as remedy. We have a remedy. So when someone encroached onto your land, you will go and complain in the police station and go to court. That is a remedy you have. The same way, when your fundamental rights are infringed or violated, you have remedies which are there in article 32, which Ambedkar called as soul of Indian constitution. Remedies, these remedies are called writs. We have different writs. We have habeas corpus, we have mandamus, we have certiorari, we have quo warranto, we have prohibition. These are the different writs we have. These are the different instruments the Supreme Court have to control state, to control lower judiciary, to control different administrative departments, to control private people, right? That is what we are talking about. Article 32 is a remedy. If you don't have this article, fundamental rights are not enforceable. Because of this article 32, these are called enforceable rights. Done. So article 33 says that yes, fundamental rights are there, not for all people. There are few people for whom I don't give these fundamental rights, right? There are few people to whom I will not give all the rights, but few. For example, armed forces, police people, they cannot have all the rights, right? There are some restrictions to those people, right? That is what mentioned in article 33. There are limitations to fundamental rights to these people. Next one, wherever there is martial law in the country, wherever the military has taken over the law and order maintenance in a particular area, there also I cannot guarantee fundamental rights. That is what constitution says, although Supreme Court is there to protect post facto, right? But remember, article 34 is what we are saying, that wherever there is martial law, there is no fundamental right. There are no fundamental rights according to the constitution. And article 35 is very important. It is saying that parliament, only parliament but not state government. Remember sovereignty, part 1 of Indian constitution, if you remember, article 4 is talking about sovereign power of the parliament. Part 2 of Indian constitution, we spoke about article 11, which is sovereign power of parliament. And similarly, part 3 of Indian constitution, we are talking about article 35, which is saying that parliament, only parliament have right to make laws on fundamental rights, but no other state governments. No state government has right to make law on fundamental rights, but parliament can make laws on fundamental rights. That is what we are talking about fundamental rights. Article 12 to article 35, these are the fundamental rights we have. This is the third part of Indian constitution. This is what we need to learn in length. Right to equality we learned. Similarly, right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation. Similarly, right to educational rights, right to education minority rights. Similarly, right to religion, right against exploitation, these are the different rights we have brought. And the last one is right to constitutional remedies. After constitutional remedies, 33, limitation of fundamental rights to armed forces and men in uniform. Article 34, we spoke about martial law. Article 35, we are talking about Parliament's power. Only Parliament has power to make law on Part 3 of Indian Constitution, but not the state governments. That is what mentioned in this particular part. So, Part 3 of Indian Constitution is done. Part 3 of Indian Constitution is done. Ambedkar thought whatever rights he can give, there are different types of rights. We call it as civil rights or political rights, economic rights and social rights. We can divide rights into social, political, civil rights. Right? Few rights he have kept in fundamental rights. Those the state have the capacity to give, he had kept in fundamental rights. Those the state don't have the capacity to give, in future they may give, that he kept in DPSP. Right? DPSP also we have rights, mostly economic rights, social and economical rights. But in Part 3, we have social, political or civil rights. Part 4 of Indian Constitution, DPSP, we have especially economical rights, although we have social rights also, few social rights also. Vineet, I heard you. Vineet, I heard you. We are doing current affairs actually for Group 1. For APPSC Group 1, we are doing current affairs. We are doing from January. Vineet IV. So, we are done with fundamental rights. Next, we are getting into directive principles of state policy. This is also important one, directive principles of state policy. Article 36 is same, again the definition of state, there is no change. 37, application of these principles contained in this part. So, these are not enforceable in any court of law. This is saying that Part 4 of Indian Constitution, directive principles of state policy are not enforceable, right. So, those are enforceable because of Article 32, these are not enforceable because of Article 37. 36, definition of state. 37, non-enforceability. Okay, we cannot go to Supreme Court. Unlike Lakshmikant, I am not going to divide them into Gandhian principles, social or liberal principles. I will just take up the article and go forward simply. Those rights which cannot be kept in fundamental rights were kept here. Whenever the state they can borrow from this and keep them in fundamental rights. Remember, these are directive principles of state policy. These are directions to the state policy. Give directions to the Chief Minister and Prime Minister. Mr. Prime Minister, Mr. Chief Minister, these are the directives I am giving you. You please follow them in your policy towards weaker sections, your policy, any policy, national education policy, solar policy, wind policy, any policy, in your policy, keep these things in mind. I am talking that we are going to establish welfare state in India. I am saying that we are going to establish welfare state in India. This is going to resemble, this particular part is going to resemble what is welfare to the world, the concept of welfare to the world. Please try to take up whenever you have the economic capacity. That is the reason why we are calling them as economic rights. Whenever you have economic capacity, please take them up. Please take them up and implement them. That is what the directions given by the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. I hope you understand what I mean there, right? So, that is where Article 38 comes. Article 38 is literally talking about welfare state. So, in India we have welfare state. How can we say that we have welfare state in India? Mention Article 38, Part 4A. That is how we have welfare state in India. When we talk about governance, when we talk about civil society, when we talk about in international relations also, in economy also, when we talk about economy schemes, we should be able to quote Article 38. Nothing much about that other than this. Next one, Article 39A. 39. Article 39 is talking about certain policy principles where men and women should be equal, children and youth should be given opportunities. All these were mentioned, right? It is talking about economic system. What kind of economic system we should create? In India, we are going to create economic system, right? What kind of economic system we are going to create? What kind of economic system we should create? Please try to follow these principles. Make sure men and women are getting equal pay. Make sure that children and youth are not getting exploited in any economic system, in any workplace. That is the reason why we are calling them as economic rights again. Article 38 spoke about welfare state, Article 39 spoke about economic system. Article 39A, Article 39A is talking about free legal aid brought by Indira Gandhi. What Indira Gandhi is saying that justice is becoming costly. When you have to hire a lawyer, when you have to go to courts, when you have to wait years together, it is very costly to you. When you are unable to pay to the lawyer, how will you get the justice? What if you don't have the capacity to pay to the lawyer? Then state will come to the rescue and give you free legal aid. It is the duty of the state to give the free legal aid. It is mentioned in Article 39A. Next one, Article 40 is talking about organization of village panchayats. Although we have 73rd and 74th Amendment Act which brought Part 9A in Indian Constitution. Before that we had Article 40. Gandhi said that we should have panchayats. Gandhi said that the soul of India lives in rural areas. Rural areas have the soul of India. Let the rural areas be administered well. We have almost 7,37,000 villages in India. Let these villages be prosperous, right? So his focus is on rural heritage, rural industry, rural agriculture, rural people, because it is 70% of India. How many urban centers are there? Next, 41 is talking about right to work. We don't have right to work. If we have right to work, we don't have to prepare. You don't have to attend my class. If you have right to work, you will automatically get the job. It is the duty of the state to give you a job, but state is not giving you a job but putting you in competition, which is because it is in DPSP. What if it is in fundamental rights? If you are not getting your job according to your potential, you can go to Supreme Court. This can be a possibility in developed countries. We are not a developed country. If we are in Finland, if we are in Norway, they had right to work. We don't have right to work, but we have right to work in law. Manrega, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Program is giving 100 days of rural employment. 100 days of guaranteed employment. That is considered as right to work, but it is a legal right. It is not it is also constitutional right, but it is not fundamental right. Remember, only 100 days of work is given. Do you know why Manrega is very important? Manrega is very important because it is following Article 38. What Article 38 is saying? Men and women should have equal wages. Nowhere in India, no labor market, no wage market, no daily market, nowhere in India you will get equal wage for men and women in India in reality except Manrega. Manrega is the only place where we get equal wages. It is what prescribed, it is what given. So sometimes law will bring social change, we need to remember. That is what right to work and public assistance. If you are differently abled, if you are a disabled person, if you are differently abled person, then there will be public assistance. That kind of public assistance we are talking about. Provide just and humane working conditions and maternity leave in a workplace. What should be there in workplace? There should be proper ventilation, there should be water availability, there should be restrooms availability. For women, maternity leave should be there. For women, creche should be given. For women, fair salary and compensation should be given. For women, timely work, morning, day work should be given, not in the night shift normally. So these are the things which we create an ecosystem, creating humane conditions. You should not ask people to slog hours together for you. There should not be drudgery. There should not be any slavery. The kind of work should be enjoyable. When a person goes to his workplace, he should come back with energy. Remember only one point, if you are going to work and coming back without energy, which means that you don't like that work and the conditions are not good. Living wage for workers. Article 43 is talking about living wage, fair wage, minimum wage. Can you see most of the time we are talking about work, workplace, equality in work, economical rights. I hope you understood. Then participation of workers in management. 43A is talking about. So when industrial revolution came, in industrial revolution the major dispute is between management and workers. When there is dispute between management and workers, the work will not happen. To remove that, we have created 43A where the workers will participate in the management. Let the workers become the board members and decide. They don't have to worry later. 43B talking about promotion of cooperative societies. We saw this particular part in 9B of Indian Constitution, especially is talking about cooperative societies. 9B is talking about cooperative societies. 19(1)C is talking about cooperative societies. Similarly, 43B is talking about cooperative societies. So important cooperative society. You don't know still what about them? Try to learn. Try to learn what is cooperative society and self-help groups. When Constitution is imposing you to learn so much about that, why don't you? Article 4 44 is talking about uniform civil code. Uniform civil code for all citizens. Civil code. This is where we need to understand what is uniform civil code. So when I am going in traffic, so traffic police caught me for jumping the signal. Will he find me as a Hindu or a Muslim or Christian? He will find me as citizen of India, right? The same way, when I get married, if I want to give divorce or if I am fighting for succession rights, why am I judged based on my religion? Why I have separate act? That is where we are coming into picture. Separate laws for different religious people is creating a complex judiciary and dispute resolution system. To get rid of that, he has suggested that in any time in future, if you have any chance, get rid of all these things. Bring one uniform civil code. How to get married? One law. How to get divorced? One law. How to get succession? One law. For everyone, there is only one law. That is called uniform civil code. We have two types of code, civil law and criminal law. Uniform civil law. Uniform civil law is what we are trying to achieve. Right? We will not have separate laws for the religion. No religious laws. Then 45 is talking about early childhood care by the children below the age of 6 years. Less than 6 years, it is the duty of the parents to take care of the children, right? Provision of early childhood care. It is the duty of the state. In article 45, it is talking about state. In article 51 AK, it is talking about parents. Article 45 is saying that those people who are less than 6 years, it is the duty of the state to give them education or basic necessities or nutrition. That is where Poshan Abhiyan is coming into picture. That is where Anganwadis are coming into picture. That is where Anganwadi primary education is coming into picture. Right? That is where we are giving them milk, eggs, all the fortified food in the Anganwadis. That is article 45. Then article 46 is talking about education rights for SC, ST. Those people who are economically backward, give them provisions for reservations, education. That is mentioned in article 46 especially. Right, in the name of Sudras, in the name of scheduled castes, in the name of scheduled tribes, in the name of those people who are underprivileged, we have discriminated them in the history for a long. So let them be forward. That is what the concept behind that particular article 46. Article 46, I said, can you see this? Article 46, article 15, article 16, article 17, then come part 10 of Indian Constitution, Schedule 5 of Indian Constitution, Schedule 6 of Indian Constitution, everything is talking about scheduled castes are socially, economically backward people and benefits to them. There are n number of provisions which are given for them in fundamental rights, in directive principles of state policy, in administration and governance also. They are considered differently and we need to bring them forward. That is the idea behind giving this special treatment to these people and these areas in the constitution. Article 46 is talking about that weaker sections, weaker or vulnerable sections. Article 47 is talking about raising the nutrition of poor people. As I said, Poshan Abhiyan is very important, but Poshan Abhiyan is available to only children and mothers or lactating mothers. Poshan Abhiyan is not available to everyone. If Poshan Abhiyan is made available to everyone, that is nutrition for all. We do have food security in India according to Act 2013, Food Security Act, National Food Security Act 2013, but we don't have nutritional security. Nutritional security is only guaranteed to children, lactating mothers and pregnant mothers, right? So only these people, the pregnant women, lactating mothers and children, nutrition is guaranteed. This is where we can also identify that alcohol is banned. Alcohol is or spirituous liquor is banned because it is hurting the health of the people. Next one, organization of agriculture and animal husbandry. So when we are talking about organization of agriculture, farming, all this should be done according to the modern rational, modern methods, modern technology. That is what we call it as sustainable farming. When you are talking about organization of agriculture and animal husbandry, sustainable agriculture, national mission for sustainable agriculture. We have national mission for sustainable agriculture. That is what we are doing under article 48. Although this article is not there in fundamental rights, but this is being given to people as a right because they are given different inputs, different facilities, different schemes. In Indian economy class, you will learn more about that. Article 48A is talking about protection and improvement of environment and safeguarding forests. We are trying to have We are trying to have 35% of forests in India, and similarly we brought National Environmental Protection Act 1986, similarly air pollution prevention, water pollution prevention, land pollution prevention, radiation pollution prevention. Likewise, n number of laws are there to protect our environment, to protect ecology, to protect biodiversity. We are following all the international standards and norms to protect that. That is mentioned in Article 48A, which is important because it was brought by Indira Gandhi again. Then protection of monuments and palaces. Remember that history is very important. History will teach you lessons. If you don't go through history, you will do the same mistake again. You, even aspirants, if you have failed in previous preliminary examination, if you are continuing the same mode of preparation, don't expect success. There should be some change, right? That change you need to get to know from the aspirants who failed before. Get through the experience, you will be more forward. If you learn about experiences, you will be more forward. The same way, our history should not be wiped out from the face of earth, from the maps of the world. So, those important places, monuments we need to protect. It is our duty to conserve their protection of these monuments. That is mentioned in Article 49. Then Article 50, separation of judiciary from executive. As I said, a judge and executive should be separate. Separation of judiciary from executive. Prime Minister should not dictate terms to Chief Justice of India. Our Chief Justice of India should not dictate terms to Prime Minister. That is mentioned in Article 50. Article 51 is talking about promotion of international peace and security. When you are talking about the participation of India in United Nations, EU, BIMSTEC, SAARC, Indian Ocean region, or ASEAN, are talking about African Union, are talking about BRICS I spoke about, right? So, our Quad, or any other international presence we are trying to do is because of Article 51, promotion of international peace and security. It is the duty of us to go ahead and formulate our foreign policy in such way. Our foreign policy will originate from Article 14, Article 51. Our foreign policy is Panchsheel. In 1954, we had Panchsheel with China. This Panchsheel became foundational stone for NAM later. That became foundational stone for further alliances in the world, right? Panchsheel is very important. Panchsheel are 5 important parameters for conducting our relationships with the different nations, right? That is Article 51, the foreign policy of the country originates from that. That is where we end up. Article 36 to Article 51, we spoke about rights, more especially we spoke about economical rights, but there are also social rights, right? Social, educational, economic rights. These are what we spoke about, but when we speak about fundamental rights, especially we spoke about civil rights, right? So, that is DPSP, Directive Principles of State Policy. This is what Ambedkar suggested to the governments. Please do this. If you do this, you will shine. You will come to power again and again. Okay. Then Indira Gandhi brought fundamental duties. Why people have only rights? Why don't they have duties? A person with rights without duties is irresponsible. Let us give them duties. We are giving them duties. These are called fundamental duties. We have 11 duties. The last one, the K, is added later. It is the duty of the guardian or parents to, it is the duty of the parents, it is the duty of the guardian to give the education to children less than 6 years, right? In article 46 we saw, in Article 45 we saw it is the duty of the state. Similarly here it is the duty of the parents. So, these are the duties we have, different duties we have: respect national anthem, respect fraternity, respect brotherhood, respect different institutions, respect our Indian independent history's ideals. All these are mentioned in these fundamental duties. Article 51A we are talking about. When we are talking, whenever you see capital letters, you remember this is an amendment. This one trick you need to remember: whenever you see a small capital letter, that is an amendment. Whenever you see small letter, these are clauses or subclasses. So, this particular part 51A came in 44th Amendment Act 1978. Sorry, 42nd Amendment Act 1976. So, these are two important amendments, 42nd Amendment and 44th Amendment 1978. These are two important amendments. Indira Gandhi brought these fundamental duties. These are how we complete fundamental rights, DPSP and fundamental duties. So, these are how we completed 5 parts of Indian Constitution. One is, we have completed preamble, we have completed union territory, we have completed citizenship, we have completed fundamental rights, we have completed DPSP, we have completed fundamental duties. Normally, this will happen at least 20 to 30 hours of classes, but we have completed in almost 1 hour, I hope. Right? I hope you understood important articles here. Those important articles you must write down. Are we clear? Are we understanding this? Is it clear for all of you? Clear, clear. Understood. Thank you very much, everyone. Let us take union government now. So, part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 4a demolished. We are getting into part 5, that is union government. I spoke about that. We spoke about union territory, state features, union and territory, first part done. Citizenship, the rights of the citizens, DPSPs, which are also rights. 4a, which are fundamental duties. This is what we have done. Now we are getting into fifth part, that is union government. When I speak about union government, there are three important organs. One is executive, one is legislature, the third one is judiciary. There are three important organs. One is legislature, one is executive, the third one is judiciary. So it is not possible to complete the administration everything for you. I am going to tell you important articles. Pick those articles, write down simple. First point, Article 52. Article 52 is saying that there is President of India. There is President of India? Is it not Prime Minister who is the real hero here? Why do we need President of India? Is President of India real head or nominal head? Why do we have even President of Prime Minister of India, President of India? These are the questions we need to have. So normally in a country where we have democracy, we are clearly mentioning that President of India is there. When we are saying that this President of India is indirectly elected, we are talking about Republican form of government, Republic. First one, when we speak about President of India, we need to be clear what is the role of this president. Do he have the real power? No, he is having nominal power. Who is the real power? Prime Minister. I'll tell you the lean, take it down. President. President is following what said by the Prime Minister and Council of Ministers. They will follow their own committees, cabinet committees. The real decisions will normally originate from committees, then go to Prime Minister and Council of Ministers, then go to President and then get implemented. Okay. So, Article 52 is important because there is President of India. Article 53, executive power of Union. What is the power of Union? What is the executive power of Union? Executive power of Union is there till seventh part Union list, seventh schedule. In seventh schedule of India, we have Union list. Seventh schedule of India, in seventh schedule of Indian Constitution, we have Union list. In Union list, we have the extent of power. What are the different subjects on which we have power? That is mentioned in Article 53. Article 54 is very important, election of president. Remember Article 52, Article 54, election of the president. Election of the president. When you see the word election, direct election or indirect election, election, this is Republican. What does Republic mean? What is Republic mean? Republic mean participation of public in all the public offices. Whatever the office is there, every citizen should be eligible. Every citizen should be eligible to become President of India. Not only a person belonging to a particular caste, religion, class, but everyone should be able to be eligible to all the public offices, right? Who can become chief minister? Anyone, any citizen. Who can become prime minister? Any chief minister, any citizen. Who can become judge? Any citizen. No bar on any citizens, right? Republic. Republic is not talking only about president. It is talking about public participation. Public participation in all public offices, right? So when President of India is elected, which means that he is not inherited like Britishers. In UK, if British Queen is dying, their inheritance will come. the king will come again or the queen again will come, but this position is not inherited. You are only electing them. That is the reason why Article 54 is important, because it is saying election of president. When it is election of president, it is republic. Article 55, when we talk about Article 55, we have this as PRSTV. How do we elect a president of India? Proportional representation by means of single transferable vote. This is indirect election. Just remember, indirect election. So in India, we have a feature called indirect election that is available in Article 55. We elect our president. Remember, we elect our president. We don't elect our governors. We elect our presidents. We don't elect our governors. So PRSTV, indirect election. Article 55, you need to remember. Article 57, we need to remember. Eligibility for re-election. A president of India can be re-elected any number of times. If he is getting elected for another 10 times, he can be president of India. But Babu Rajendra Prasad set a norm, set a standard that a person will be nominated only twice for the post of president, not normally for thrice, only for twice, right? But there is no such bar. He can be elected as long as he is the suitable candidate for that particular post and he is elected by the members, indirect election. Next one. Sixtieth what is very important article. 60th article is very important article. Oath and affirmation of the president. Oath and affirmation of the president. Before getting into this post, he will make a oath. He will promise on something, right? What is promise? What is the promise he is making? So if you remember, I spoke third schedule is about oath and affirmation. Remember, third schedule is about oath and affirmation. Second schedule is about salaries. If you remember, in that third schedule, we don't have the oaths of president and vice president. Except president and vice president, all other oaths are there in the third schedule. Remember that. Article 60 is done, oath and affirmation. What he is mentioning? That president, he faithfully executes the office and ability to preserve, protect and defend constitution. Who is the protector of Indian constitution? Who is the protector of Indian constitution? It is mentioned in Article 60. It is saying that it is a duty of the president to preserve, protect, defend Indian constitution. He is the protector of Indian constitution is said by Article 60 of Indian constitution. Again I am saying oath and affirmations. Article 60, president oath is there only in this particular article. It is not there in the schedule. Except president and vice president, all other oaths are there in the third schedule of Indian constitution. Okay. Next one. Article 61. Article 61 is very important. Impeachment of president. Remember, we use the word impeachment nowhere else except removal of president. Impeachment of president is mentioned in Article 61. Impeachment means removal of president. Who can remove the president? Who can elect the president? Who can remove the president? Okay. Now I am going to compare these two. Remember these two. Who can elect the president? Which article is talking about election of president? Indirect election, I told you to remember. Article 54. Election of president. Can you see this? Manner of election is indirect election. Who is participating in this? Election of the president. Article 54. Elected members of both houses of parliament. Elected members of legislative assemblies. So legislatures are participating. Who is ultimate sovereign authority in India? Legislature. Parliaments are sovereign authority. And in India, we are talking about parliament and assemblies. We are talking about federalism. We are talking about federalism. In electing president, both the states and the center is participating, which means president is not the representative of the center. President is the representative of both states and center. This is what I want you to remember. I want you to remember president is the federal representative, he is not the union government representative. Governor is only central representative. Governor is central representative, but president is the representative of both states and center. Understood? Because he is elected by the members of parliament and elected by the members of legislative assembly. Article 54 is important, but remember, he will be removed by the members of the president, members of the parliament only. Article 61. Nowhere in the constitution we use the word impeachment except for president. President can be removed. Who can remove the president? Parliament can itself remove. Can I simply say that the election of the president is a federal principle and removal of the president is unitary principle, because parliament itself can remove without the support of state governments. And remember, parliament again. Who is parliament? Ultimate sovereign institution. Who has the ability to take the decisions? Parliament. Who gave that power to parliament? We. How you gave? Right to vote. We gave them right, we gave them power, they are making laws, they are controlling every other functionary of the constitution. President also can be removed. Can you see? No authoritarianship. If president is not according to the standards. But what is the ground on which we can remove the president? Right? What is the ground? That is violation of constitution. You cannot remove him for misbehavior. You can only remove him for violation of constitution. If he is violating constitution, then president can be removed from that particular post. Who can remove that? Parliament can do that. In election of the president, article 54, it is clearly mentioned that both the states and the parliament will participate. That is federal principle. What is federalism? I will tell you the principles of federalism in 1 second. We will demolish federalism. What is unitary? What is federalism? We will demolish that in 1 second. We have constitution. We have constitution. We have union government. We have state government. If constitution is giving powers to union government, if union government is giving powers to state government, that is called unitary form. This is called unitary distribution of powers. Who is giving powers to state government here? Union government. For union government, where they are getting powers from? Constitution. This is called unitary form. If it is there, constitution, union government, state government, if the powers to the union government is given by the constitution, powers to the state government is also given by the constitution, that is called federalism. That is called federalism. What are the federal units? Andhra Pradesh is a federal unit, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, all these are federal units, right? So can you see the difference here? This is unitary, this is federal. When the powers are given to union government and union government is giving powers to state government, that is called unitary feature, and when the powers are given to union government and state government, that is called federal feature, right? But what we have in India, we are very unique. We have constitution, we have union government, we have state government. The powers are given to, this is how it is there. We are quasi-federal. One side the constitution is giving powers to union government is giving some powers to state government, other side constitution is also giving powers to state government, which means that we are quasi-federal. I hope you understood what I mean by quasi-federal. Now you see article 54. Article 54 is a federal feature because state government is also participating and the union government is also participating. Union legislature is also participating, right? But if you see 61, only union legislature is participating. Understood the difference now? The power and procedures and all not very important. What is important is article 54, article 61, article 52. There is President of India, and article 54 is saying election of president. When you mean election of president, that is talking about republic, the future republic. Article 55 is talking about the method of election, PRSTV, proportional representation by means of single transferable vote, or we call it as indirect election. We elect our representatives. Our representatives will elect president. You will never participate in the election of the president. Understood? Next one, Vice President. In India, we have a person called Vice President. Article 65. Article 63 is saying we have Vice President of India. Article 63. Can you see 52? Can you see 63? 52 talking President should be there. Article 63 is saying that we have Vice President of India. Remember these two terms. One is saying President of India, Article 63 is saying we have Vice President of India. We have Vice President of India, but he don't have a separate office. He will work as a ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. He will be elected as Vice President, but will be working as Rajya Sabha chairman. Remember that particular part. Okay. Vice President is ex officio chairman of Council of State. 64. Normally, Vice President is elected, but he is doing the duty of Rajya Sabha chairman. Now we have Parliament. Parliament is equal to President plus Vice President plus Lok Sabha plus Rajya Sabha. This is what we have. Parliament is equal, when I talk about Parliament, we have President plus Lok Sabha plus Rajya Sabha. So we have President, we have Vice President, Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha. President is not member of Lok Sabha, President is not member of Rajya Sabha, Vice President is not member of Rajya Sabha, Vice President is not member of Lok Sabha, but Rajya Sabha chairman is Vice President. He is not member, but he is chairman. Remember that. He is not elected to Rajya Sabha, he is elected as Vice President and doing duty as Rajya Sabha chairman. That is what we need to keep in mind. Article 63 talks about Vice President, there shall be Vice President of India. Article 64 says that where do he will sit? He will sit as a chairman of Rajya Sabha. He will take salaries, pensions, leaves, everything as a Rajya Sabha chairman. But Article 65 says that whenever the President is not there, casual vacancy. There are two types of vacancies, casual vacancy, permanent vacancy. Casual vacancy means he will be absent, he will be leave, he will be gone to honeymoon. Let us consider, right? When he is gone to that, Vice President will do the duty. Article 65 says that Vice President will perform the duties of President in casual vacancy. Whenever he is doing the duty of a President, he will get the salaries, allowances, everything as President. Understood? That is Article 65. Article 66 is talking about election of Vice President. Vice President shall be elected by the members, electoral college consisting of members of House of Parliament. So unlike the President, who is the federal representative, Vice President is just the central representative. PRSTV, the method is PRSTV, only proportional representation by means of single transferable vote, but Vice President is not a federal representative, but he is just elected by the members of the Parliament. Everywhere the secret ballot is followed, only secret ballot is followed. Normally, the terms of President and Vice President are 5 years, but until the next person arrives, they will be sitting in the seat. Until the new election of the President happens and that person occupies the office, these people will continue. It is not rigid that 5 years term, right? 5 years term is not rigid. Even after 5 years, if the new President is not coming, they will be in the seat only. Next one, oath and affirmation of the Vice President. As I said, Article 61 and Article 69, Article 60, Article 69. You can see. I specifically spoke about Article 60 here. Preserve, protect. Who is the protector of the Constitution? President of India is the protector of Indian Constitution. I said the same way we have Article 69. Except Article 60 and 69, all oaths or affirmations are mentioned in Schedule 3 of Indian Constitution. Right? So, his oath is there in Article 69, 69, Article 60. These are oaths and affirmations. These are talking about oaths and affirmations. Apart from that, we have in all others like Chief Justice of Supreme Court, High Courts, Speaker, all these will have in, not Speaker, except Speaker, all these we will have in Schedule 3 of Indian Constitution, oaths and affirmation. Oath is very important. Oath is your strong allegiance, oath is your strong belief, oath is your conscience, oath is your consciousness. If you are taking oath, that is having a value. You are making a promise, that is having a value. We are running a system with values. We can't run system without values. If you don't have values, you will not run the system with values. You will be corrupted. You will be corrupted to the core and you will enjoy the luxury while the poor and impoverished people of the country are unable to meet for their square meal. Next important one, Article 71. Article 71. If there is a dispute about the President election or Vice President election, who is the final authority to decide on that? Supreme Court is the final authority to decide on the disputes of Vice President or President. If there is any dispute on election, that will be finalized by the Supreme Court. Next, Article 72. Power to grant pardons. Power to grant pardons, right? This is to protect separation of powers. We have LEJ. If you remember Article 13, I said judicial review. If legislature is becoming arbitrary, if executive is becoming arbitrary, Article 13 and Article 32 will protect you. Article 226 also, if it is state high courts. Article 13, Article 32, Article 226 will protect you from the arbitrariness of legislature and executive. But what if judiciary itself will become arbitrary? If judiciary is giving you punishments which are biased, then go to President. President who is sitting above here, the legislature and executive, right? He is sitting in the parliament normally, in the legislature, right? So you can see it is the legislative control over judiciary. So this is where we come up LEJ, separation of powers. Although in India we don't have separation of powers, L plus E are working together. This is called parliamentary form of government. That I will explain further. This is called parliamentary form of government, right? Judiciary is separate. What is the system is all about? This constitution is like snakes and ladder. This is articraft. This is a constitutional craft. This is a state craft made by the Ambedkar. What he is trying to do? He is trying to create balance of power. He is trying to create balance of power. He is making sure that legislature is not growing over and above executive and judiciary. Executive is not growing over and above judiciary and legislature. It is the duty of this particular craftsman to make sure judiciary is not growing over and above executive legislature. If judiciary is becoming more powerful, it is the duty of executive and legislature to control. It is the duty of legislature to control executive if it is becoming more arbitrary, right? So one another, it is like checks and balances. We are calling it as checks and balances. We are calling it as checks and balances. When judiciary is becoming arbitrary, other two organs. Executive becoming arbitrary, other two organs. Legislature is becoming arbitrary, the other two organs will try to check the power of other organ. That is called balance of power. Checks and balances and separation of power is created, right? Intricately, he had made sure that this is intricately mentioned in the constitution, right? This balance of power is the concept which is revolving underlying this particular document, constitution document, right? Power of the first president to grant pardons. When judiciary is becoming arbitrary and giving convictions which are arbitrary, punishments which are arbitrary, then article 72 will come into picture. Power to grant pardons and pardon, reprieve, respite, remission, all these are the methods through which he can suspend the punishment, delay the punishment, change the type of the punishments, right? Article 72, power to grant pardons by the president. That is to protect us from the arbitrariness of the judiciary. Next important article, we have Council of Ministers. We have article 74 which is having Council of Ministers. Council of Ministers to aid and advise President. This is where I will talk about power map. Power map, this is what we need to remember. Power map. Who is sovereign in India? Who are kings in India? Who are queens in India? This is people of India who are kings and queens. This is people who are kings and queens, right? When we have kings and queens, we have right to vote. We have article 326 through which we give vote to the parliament, which we call them as legislature. Where we call them as legislature, that is called parliament. We elect people and give power to the parliament. So why we need polity? Why we are discussing polity? Polity is for administration of resources. We have three types of resources: natural resource, artificial resource, human resources. To administer these resources, we need somebody. We have vast resources, we have vast land, we have vast forest, mines, industries. We need someone to manage that. Let us consider that you have 1 lakh acres of land. You need someone to manage that, right? You can't manage that. Likewise, we people of India have so much of resources, we need someone to administer that, and we took up parliament, right? Parliament, now how many people are there here? 121 crore, let us take 2011 census. 121 crore people are there and we are electing representatives in parliament. How many people we have? 545 plus 245. We have around 790 people. Around 800 people we have elected. These people will administer the resources we have. And 800 people, it is very difficult to sit in a room and take a decision. It is very difficult to 500 people to sit and take decisions, is it not? Because of which they will give power to the government, that is called ministry, that is called executive. That is called executive. In and around 80 members will be there. Just 80 members. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Nirmala Madam, Nitin Gadkari, Dharmendra Pradhan. These are the people who are administering the country, right? Directly. Can you see this? Can you see this? People gave power to parliament. Parliament gave power to executive. We have president over here in triangular relationship. In triangular relationship. He is also there in parliament. He is also there in executive. Right? Here, executive is there to guide president. It is the duty of the constitution draftsman to separate executive and parliament normally. But in parliamentary form of government, they work in cooperation and coordination. Executive will sit in parliament. Can you see? Narendra Modi will become MP of Varanasi, then he will become prime minister. Minister should come from parliament. Can you see that pattern? So that is where we understand executive and parliament are working together with cooperation and coordination. That is called parliamentary form of government, right? This is what we have. Can you see this? Power is going up. Power is being transferred up. Power is transferred from people to parliament, parliament to executive, right? Power is going up, responsibility should come down. Responsibility should come down. Responsibility and accountability should come down, right? Executive is responsible to parliament. Parliament is responsible to people. Can you see this? Executive is responsible to parliament and parliament is responsible to people. The exact wording is that when executive is collectively responsible to parliament, that is called parliamentary form of government. Simple. Executive is responsible to parliament, collectively responsible. Understood? When executive is responsible to parliament collectively, that is called parliamentary form of government. That is what parliament, power, responsibility flow graph. You need to understand this power map. This I call it as power map. You need to understand this power map. When you understand this power map, you will understand the institutions clearly. I hope it is clear for you, right? Now in this you can see we have council of ministers, right? We have prime minister plus council of ministers. We have prime minister plus council of ministers to aid and advise president. So president is nominal head. Article 74 is saying that president is nominal head. The real heads are the prime minister and council of ministers. That is what it is saying, that clearly, right? Article 74, whenever you are talking about nominal power, when you are talking about, right, de jure, de facto, the names are de jure, de facto. De facto, the real power is the prime minister and council of minister. Nominal power is that de jure is president, right? That is mentioned in article 74. The executive is responsible to parliament, that is parliamentary form of government. You can see here, you can see this word, remember this, 75(3). Article 75(3). Article 75(3) clearly is saying that the council of ministers shall collectively responsible to house of people, that is parliament, that is legislature, that is Lok Sabha, especially Lok Sabha, not even Rajya Sabha. See this point clearly. Council of ministers shall be collectively responsible to house of people, that is Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha means, what is Lok Sabha? Lok Sabha means elected by people. Rajya Sabha elected by states. Can you see the difference? Lok Sabha, house of people, house of states, elected by states, elected by people. Who gave the power to the parliament? Lok Sabha, that is people, right? So they are responsible to Lok Sabha. So which is the sovereign institution, ultimate sovereign institution in India? That is parliament. Parliament is the ultimate sovereign institution in India. Article 74, Article 75(3). When you talk about parliamentary form of government, you need to mention Article 75(3). If you are not mentioning these articles, what is even the purpose? If you know the crux, if you are not able to mention that, there is no point, right? This is called aesthetics. This is what we call it as aesthetics. You should be able to mention these important articles in the examination, right? So we can wind up here. Now what I have completed is we have union government. In union government, LEJ is there. In LEJ, I have completed executive. I have completed executive. In union government, I have completed executive as of now. Who were there in executive now as of now? President was there, and similarly vice president was there, and prime minister and council of ministers. So who are part of executive? President, vice president, prime minister, council of ministers, and attorney general, AG. Attorney general is the lawyer of the government. Simple. Attorney means lawyer friend. So there will be cases for union government. If there should be someone who should take up the case of the government, that is called attorney general. He is called as attorney general. In state, he is called advocate general. In center, he is called attorney general. In states, he is called advocate general. Attorney general is the person who is the lawyer of the central government. So all these people together, we call them as executive. I hope you understood. Right? We have completed part 1, we have completed preamble, part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 4a. In part 5, we have completed executive. Tomorrow I will take up legislature and judiciary. In 1, 2, I thought I will complete in 2 sessions. If it is not, in 3 sessions, I will complete the gist of what I am doing. Alright. So I hope you enjoyed this session. Thank you very much. We will try to see in the next session. Thank you very much for being patient, everyone. Do you have any doubts? I will be here for another couple of minutes. Are we connected? Have you heard me? Have you understood what I said? Is it useful for you? Are you understanding what I am saying? All right. You don't need years together. You don't need hours together. Try to invest so much of time so that you clear this examination, any examination which you are taking up this year only. When you are trying it, try to complete in 1 year. Don't extend it for 2 years or 3 years. All right. Thank you very much. Have a good night. We'll try to see in the next session.